Claudia
Oh
and
yeah.
your dad
So
dressing up?
now my dad is making more of an he's not making more an effort, but he's being himself again. He was very, how do I say, complacent in his relationship.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's my wife now. Like, I don't have to do much, you know? And I can see how that can happen, you know? Because you get comfortable and you're just like, you're like very, like, you're not thinking about losing this person. But then this other person's like, oh, what's going on?
What's going on?
You know, they're like worried, especially as a woman too. Like, you need reassurance. Like, typically, like, as guys, we're all about the facts, you know? And then the girls are like more how you make them feel.
Yeah.
I mean, they do understand the facts too, but they're very like, how did he make me feel?
Yeah.
You know? And I noticed that with Claudia, 'cause she would like, it would come out sometimes in her frustrations. And then, but now my dad is making more of an effort, and it shows. It really shows. Like, when you really put in that effort, people appreciate it, you know, because people enjoy being, you know, handled with love.
Yeah.
You know, and it matters.
Yeah.
Because like, who knows? What if I'm gone tomorrow and I was just being a slouch all day? You know, and not necessarily. I'm saying like, you have to do it a lot, but you have to like be mindful of like not just dropping it.
Yeah, and especially,
you know?
like I said, like if you started off strong and then you try to taper off somewhere in the middle, it'll come out.
Mm-hmm. How you been dealing with it?
Just slowly like head back in the direction to where I was and find a good common ground. Like, just be mindful. Like, hey, this person like requires a certain amount of love and a certain amount, and you've made this commitment.
Yeah,
you know, like you've decided that you want to take this person on, so you gotta be. You got to be taking care of yourself, and then.
Did you ask her, or did she ask you to commit, or to be in a relationship?
Nobody asked.
It was kind of mutual.
It was mutual.
Okay.
Well, in a relationship.
Yeah, I'm saying like, who asked the question? Like, will you be my girlfriend?
At the beginning, I asked her. I asked her,
but it was because you saw her reciprocate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If anything, I saw her reciprocate more than I was doing for her, and I just like I knew like fuck like. You don't really get treated like this often.
Yes, which is why I asked, because like she was doing the most, she was doing a lot, and then also what tripped me out too is because like her friends and her sisters like, yeah, she never does any of these things for anybody, and then it's weird seeing her be like this, and so I was like, wow, it feels really nice that she's doing all this for me, and so that's when I decided to ask, and it just kind of like it was mutual because like she was like, yeah. I do. I enjoy spending my time. And then we're freaking goofy. Like, once you meet her, she's like the same as me.
That's the best, dude.
And it's weird to see. Like, we do some of the weirdest things that nobody else does. Like, you know, when you're behind closed doors and you just be like, like fucking screaming at each other. Like, what are you doing? And I just love it, you know? Because, like, it's cool to have, like, it's almost like having another friend that you have that you can be super weird and not care.
The way that I described it to my girlfriend, I was like, it honestly just feels like we're being kids. And this is like the longest play date ever.
Yes.
But at the same time, like when we want to turn that off and we want to handle shit, like we can. And it's, I don't know, to me, that's just beautiful.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, that sounds really nice. Because like, you know how I say like we always have a kid inside us that we're trying to talk to and bring out? Because I feel like when you're young, you're trying to like mature or whatever, but then as you grow older, you're like, no, wait, that was actually pretty good, let's go back. You know, that's actually like, that's where I'm trying to get back to, like enjoying being a kid. Which my dad, I think he has down packed. He loves being just a child and enjoying life. And so when I'm walking around with this person, it just feels like that, you know, like like you said, like a long play date. And then we'll just be like doing the dumbest things, but to us they mean the world.
Exactly. And then the other thing too is that inner child like has some fucking pain, you know, and like their inner child has some pain too. And like, even though it's a long play date, at the same time, like you guys can take care of each other. Like at least in my relationship, we can kind of turn it on and off when we're taking care of each other and when we're having fun.
I see.
Does that make sense? So like we heal each other and we understand that like, hey, you know, like we had some pasts and the way we grew up has a lot to do with how we behave with each other now. But I trust you enough to show you this pain that I had from when I was little. And then it goes both directions. And then it's like, you can have your fun, like we said. But at the same time, like finding that somebody that allows you to heal those wounds and treats you better than you were treated, it allows that little person inside you to like just glow.
Which is what I feel like is love, you know? Because love is, at the end of the day, it's just a feeling.
It is.
But there's more than that, you know? There's more There's like sadness, anger.
Right.
And then if you can handle this with somebody, it's just beautiful.
Right.
But I'm having a hard time, not a hard time, but that kind of turning it off at the right times.
Right.
Because I'm naturally a very goofy person.
Right.
And I take things as jokes because I love like not taking things seriously.
But that's you.
Mm-hmm. But I also have to be mindful. Mm-hmm. Like it's not right all the time for this person, because sometimes she's like telling me things that on like she's trusting me, but then I'm being like like being funny.
Yeah.
Like I made a weird joke the other day. Oh, she had a little lump or a little bump on her arm. I was like, oh, you got cancer, huh? And I just make these stupid like, jokes, and they just come out naturally because I just love messing around. Like the other day, I was like, if my dad passes away, I'm gonna do like that knock knock joke, like knock knock. Who's there? Not my dad. And so things like that, like, to me, they seem funny, but I have to be aware that other people just don't appreciate it.
Not the same. Yeah, it's not the same.
It's a time and a place for everything.
Right.
So I have to be more mindful. And lately, that's what I'm like making sure, like, my words matter. Your words matter. What the things we say. Sometimes if we don't know what they mean, they do matter to somebody. Yeah,
because like you could be talking and you could be saying something for shits and giggles, but that other person is not taking it as shits and giggles because they're words that are coming out of your mouth. They mean, like you said, they mean something.
And they mean different things.
They do. And they could be interpreted different ways too.
Because like we have like similar upbringings, but hers are different. Like she, like, things that mean something to me mean the complete opposite to her. And so we like clash, and like when you come up to those ideas, I'm like, oh no, this is what that means. And she's like, no, that's not what that means. And then we went along in the conversation. They were like, okay, it's just that I feel a different way about how this like matters or what this means to me. Right. And it's just crazy to see like different perceptions, especially like with the person next to you, how different the world is, which is pretty cool.
That's cool. That's wild, dude.
Well, yeah, that's my life right now.
With some tea.
With some tea.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking about this with Calvin, the last episode I did.
What's his name?
Calvin.
Calvin.
And he was mentioning exactly that like your perception, your ideas, like your views are yours. Like not everybody has the same way of thinking, and especially in a relationship, it's especially important because that person thinks a certain way and you think a certain way. And like you said, those ideas will clash.
Yeah.
But the beauty in it is that if the two ideas that you guys had growing up are both wrong, together you can decide what is right.
Find the truth.
What is right. Yeah.
I feel like not necessarily right. Because there are things that are right in this world, but like less the wrong. Way I see it is like things that are the least wrong you can find.
Yeah.
We're trying to make the least wrong decisions in our life, the least wrong path we could take to be like, just survive in this crazy world we're in, I'm not saying survive in the sense that like you're poor or anything. I'm saying survive and like handle all these obstacles, all these emotions thrown at you, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so I had like picking, which is why a lot of people get overwhelmed. There's a lot of anything you want, you can go and take,
Anything you want, you can go and take?
You can go and take. Anything you want, you can go and take. Like, you see something, you can go after it.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
That's kind of what I was saying. Like, anything you want. So, like, it's kind of overwhelming sometimes. Just the the vastness of it all. Like, so many decisions.
You can take any route.
Yeah. I mean, to some, like, they find it easy. They feel their path kind of, like, forming, and they just kind of wiggle in there, and it's easy to get in. But others is, like, you like see this one, but then something shines over there, and you're like, "Oh shoot, wait, I want to go see that," And so sometimes you feel scattered, and then that's why people feel lost.
I see what you're saying.
Which is how I felt. I don't feel that way as much anymore. I feel more because I still don't have like a certain path, but now I feel more comfortable
just walking
and finding all these paths.
Are you exploring the paths if they come across?
Yes. I've been exploring. I've been asking. I've been like venturing into. Some of them have been uncomfortable, but that's also been really nice.
How is that so?
What do you mean?
How's it nice to be uncomfortable?
At first it was definitely I did not like it because you're like you set limits for yourself.
Okay.
And within these limits you create your world, and so you choose what limits you want because you were talking about neuroplasticity, so that you can change who you are. So these limits that you set for yourself, they now become your comfort zone, kind of thing.
So as you're breaking them, Your brain.
It feels uncomfortable.
Oh, you know? Okay. I see what you're saying.
But then after, like, especially people who do this often, like, they, like, push themselves a lot. They find it easier. But as opposed to somebody who's always constantly, like, within their bubble, and then they try to teeter out, it just feels very, like, world ending. You know, your world is shifting. Like, the world is moving beneath you. Like, oh, shoot. You know, like, they pull the rug underneath. And so you're, like, scared. You're like, oh, no, what do I do? You know? And which is why I'm saying, like, you don't become a man until your father dies. It could be symbolically or literally. Yeah. But that's because nobody's there to help you. Nobody's there to keep you in that comfort zone. So now you have to pick yourself up and keep moving forward. You know? Fuck. So that's kind of how I've been seeing it. Like, being uncomfortable. I guess it's cheesy. It's been said so many times, but being uncomfortable or comfortable being uncomfortable. You know? Yeah. I'm still not there yet, but it's getting there. Especially more with, like, meditation and mindfulness and being, like, just grateful. I have been doing this thing where, like, with my girl, every time we sit down before a meal, every single time, I've been saying, because I'm not a very religious person, but I do enjoy being grateful. So every single meal, even though it's uncomfortable sometimes, because I don't want to do it, I just want to eat. Right. I'll be like, okay, what am I grateful for today? And then she'll do it sometimes, or I'll do it sometimes. And it's been really cool. Like, it's really, like, some days I have a bad day, and then I remember all those times it reminds me of, like, how much I have, you know? Because it's easy to forget. The other day I was having a weird day, and then I sat in my room, and I noticed, like, wow, I worked so hard to get here. Like, why am I so, you know? And I'm here now. Yeah. So it's crazy to feel, and we forget sometimes because it's all the commotion of the world just coming at and bombarding us with ideas, and then finally you got to just kind of, like, well, not finally, but, like, you get to this point where, like, okay, I have this because of what I did. Like, 8-year-old me would be so proud of me right now, you know? Fuck, dude. Like, if your younger self, like, saw you right now, he's like, wow, that's a whole adult. He's actually going at it, and then, you know? Fuck. You know? Because picture yourself, like, young, like, insecure, scared. Well, what the heck's going on? I used to be bullied that when I was little, and I was just nervous, you know? I was, like, scared to even ask for ranch. Fuck, dude. And so now I see myself, and I'm like, wow, I really have come a long way. Wow. Even though I still have a long way to go, because, you know, I have high expectations for myself, I don't have to push it so much, you know? Be grateful for what I have. So that's been really, like, nice to feel. That's a great way to think about it. That's a great way to think about it. But who knows if it changes in the future, but as of now, this is, like, I feel this is the path I want. You know, being gratefulness. Being grateful. Because I was listening to somebody, like, say, like when you go to work, he's like, oh, I have to. I don't know if you saw that. He's like, I have to go do that. I have to go do this. But he was like, no. I get to do this. You know? Dude, so, that's heavy. Like, we get to do this. We get to do this. We get to, really, like, record this podcast. Yeah, we really do. We get to sit in this living room, even though it's getting a little hot because of my tea. Yeah, dude. No, we really do. I got to be honest with you that I do forget that often. I do forget where I've come from and the amount of work that I've put in and everything that I do have now. And if I could be completely honest with myself and others, I don't stop as often as I would like to be grateful for the shit that I do have. Well, because you have things to do, you know? Yeah. It gets a little busy and hectic sometimes, and you're focused on this thing. Sometimes it's understandable that you lose track, you know? Because, like, especially in the world we live in, it's definitely a lot harder. And the places and situations we put ourselves. I feel like it's so much easier to say you're out freaking cabin and just sleeping and in your hammock. You're like, oh, I'm so grateful. Whatever. Yeah. But, like, so you have things to do. You have things on your mind. So, I mean, don't like, put yourself so much down. It takes effort to be in that state of mind. Right. You know? Right. But every time that I do bring myself to that state of mind, immediately after, I'm just like, it's like a little slap in the face, and you're like, dude, what were you tripping about? Like, what were you tripping about? Like, you realize this, right? Like, you're doing pretty fucking well, and it just kind of like a refresh, like a restart. It's almost like you hit the reset button, and then you're just kind of like good for another 3 weeks, 4 weeks until you forget again. Yeah, until you forget again, and you're like, damn, I wish I had that car. You know? It's so easy, dude. It is. Because why are things so nice? Everything is fucking nice. Like, you see something shiny, and they're like, I want that so bad. And you're like, I want it now.
But I mean, I think the beauty in life is that, like you said, is if you have that, if you see that, you can go get it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You can go get it.
But you have to be careful too, because
you do.
You know, like, be careful what you wish for, because it could come true.
You can get caught in the wrong thing.
I'm not saying necessarily the wrong thing, but be careful what you wish for in the sense of like your state of mind changes a lot. You know, the things you want change, and they like mature as you get older.
Bring this closer to you.
So as you get older, I feel
you
like
can lean back, but you can bring it closer to you.
Lean back. Okay. So like as you like move along, I feel like, oh yeah, I wanted this thing at this one point, but I don't care for it now. But now I have it. You know. Like kind of be more like, are you sure you want this? Do you really want this?
There's definitely an importance in that you have to really make sure that you want something. Like at least that's what I do myself. Before I get something, I spend a lot of time with it. A lot of time, dude. And it's not until I see the ups, the downs, the bad, the good, the ugly.
Yeah.
And I convince myself, like, okay, no, that's what we want. Like, we're gonna go get it. Like, but I have definitely had moments where I pick the wrong thing and I go and get it, and you're like, fuck, I didn't even want this. Like, why'd I get this?
A lot of times when I feel I regret getting something is because I allowed other people to influence me.
That's big.
That's when I do regret things. When I allowed other people to convince me that I want something.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
Like getting this car that I have right now, I love it, but I didn't want it. My parents wanted me to get it because you need a reliable car and all that. I was fine with my little beater. Now I love it and I appreciate it because it's reliable. It gets me from A to B. I don't have to be worried.
Right.
But in a sense, like, I didn't want this car at first. You know, I didn't want it. It was more so like them influenced me and me not being able to say no at the time. You know, just like, okay, fine. We'll go do this thing. I'll do it for you guys. Yeah. You know, because it's hard to like, you know, so when you really like have your parents as your like guidance, it's hard to like see when they're wrong.
That's true.
You know,
that's true.
It's hard to see sometimes, especially when like you don't really talk back to them or like you always follow what they say, and your whole life they've been like your guide. Yeah. So it was definitely hard like shifting that balance. Like, oh, you know what? Maybe they don't know what's right. It was just very weird at first. I felt a little like, damn, they don't know what's going on. No. You know? No. My little brother Axel, he saw that from an earlier age.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He did see that from earlier age.
That dude's on another level too. Dude.
He is. I don't know what's up with him. He like, I don't know what it is. I need to speak to him more, but he definitely has more of like a, how do I say it?
I feel like he's
meticulous.
Okay.
He's more meticulous with the things he does. He makes sure he wants it, and he doesn't do things that other people want him to do, which I respect a lot. And I used to not appreciate it because as a brother, like I wanted to go play football with him. I want to go take him out wherever, go hike. But he's like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna go do this.
And then he knew what he wanted, and then he just kind of does it. Yeah. The other thing that I noticed too is that he's kind of fact driven.
He is. He enjoys what's right. He enjoys the truth. Yeah. And being clear. Yeah. And he doesn't like when you're like bullshitting him anyway. You know, when you're just telling him bullshit. Yeah. Like he knows when I'm just telling a story just for the fun of it. Because I enjoy just being silly. Yeah, yeah. And sometimes he's just like, nah, I'm good. You know, I want to go home. Yeah. You know, but I love my brother because we do have moments where we find that balance of like, you know, how he loves a very factual person and silly. And we kind of like, because he is also my brother and he is also like me too. He loves being silly. Oh, wow. And so sometimes we do find there are days where we find that balance and we just kind of coexist perfectly. And we venture out through the world and do weird shit.
Let's talk about brotherhood for a second. I mean, obviously you're sharing this moment with me, but in terms of responsibility, as an older brother, yeah, like what do you think? What do you feel like your little brother expects from you, or what expectations do you put on yourself as well, being an older brother to your little brother?
So as for expectations, I definitely, because I used to be a messy person. My room, I wouldn't be dirty, but I'd be messy, like things everywhere, like unorganized. I would take my clothes off and leave them on the floor. And then when I started living with my brother, I noticed like, okay, you know what? Like he's gonna do what I do, you know. And if I don't do it, he's not gonna do it.
I'm gonna pause you for a second.
Go for it.
If you see me drifting, just know I'm listening.
Okay.
Because I can't look at you and listen at the same time. Because if I'm looking at you, I'm thinking about what I'm gonna say next. Okay. So if I break eye contact,
okay, yeah, that's
just
fine.
know I'm still listening.
Okay. So what I was saying, like, I noticed I started being more clean in a way, like trying to make, because like I noticed that he wouldn't take care of himself as much, and so I would notice like myself making more of an effort to make sure my room is clean. Oh, wow. And so things like that, not necessarily like I feel like he sees me as a person to guide him, more so just questions. He asks questions here and there, and I let him know my experience. I used to be more like, this is right, but now I think like, this is what I know, and you can do what you want with this. Because it's hard sometimes being the older brother, like, oh no, I'm right. No, yeah. But you have to know you're wrong too. So, and now I'm more so giving my experience rather than my advice. Does that make any sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Because like he's also a very smart person, and he can make his own decisions. Which I wish I would have like, someone would have trusted me when I was younger. Like, oh, you can make your own decisions. Yeah, you're gonna make the wrong decisions, but like you want to make your own decisions. And so when I was younger, I wasn't allowed to like, kind of like, make my own mistakes in a way. You know, it was hard for me to like branch off to make my own decisions, because I was kind of like, I guess, babied my whole life. You know, told what to do, when to do, how to do it. So it was kind of hard trying to switch my mentality, like as a like coming out of my teens, my late and going into my early 20s. It was kind of hard shifting that mindset. Like, okay, no, I have to make decisions. I have to go mess it up. So it was kind of like weird. So for Axel, he kind of like had it a little better, because like he lived away from my dad further, or for a longer period of time, and so he's able to like, okay, you know what, nobody's gonna come and help me,
right?
So let me go make my own decisions. So I see that in him, you know. And he was at a place where I'm getting at now when he got here, and he was like 13, 14.
Fuck,
yeah, it's insane, right? But it's true, because like, say you go through some stressful period. I don't want to say he like went through traumas or anything, but he went to like more of a growth period on his own.
Yeah, different.
And I was more baby. I went to La Salle. I went to a middle school here in California, and it's a lot more babied. Does that make any sense?
No, that makes perfect sense, because he did a middle school and part of high school out there.
Yeah, he did pretty much. Well, over there, middle school feels like high school.
That's true.
So he definitely had to mature faster. And then like my mom wasn't really a big like role model, or I guess father figure, because it wasn't that very strong, you know, father figure in the house.
Right.
So he kind of had freedom to just kind of explore himself, you know.
Wow.
And I decided to come over here with my dad, and I was like, you know what? And my dad's like, nah. This is what we're doing.
Fuck.
You know? And then especially with Claudia, when I met Claudia, she's a very also like father-like figure in the way too, because the way she says things, and she like handles clients with disabilities, so she's able to like kind of like, she has like this way of speaking where like she's like on you. She'll like see past through you and be like, no, that's not what we're doing.
We're doing this.
You know? So imagine having two of those.
Wow.
Guiding you.
How old were you when Claudia came into your life?
How old was I? I was about to go into 8th grade when I met her. So
13?
Somewhere like that.
13.
So where 13
Axel, into 18, it was like two father figures. And then Axel, your brother, how long was he in
He's
Mexico?
3 years younger. I was there for 3 and he was there for 7.
He was there for 7. So he spent 7 years away from your father, just with your mom.
And I see that the way he is too.
Fuck, that's wild. Dude.
Which is like why it makes sense why my dad is the way he is, because his dad was never around. You know, he kind of had to like wake up from a young age, and so he had the thing that did help him though, because I do think you need like a strong father figure in life. Right. He had a lot of older people he would talk to. He always enjoyed being around old people, and so they'd always like help him out and tell him things.
Your brother,
my dad,
your dad.
So like, you know how like I have friends, like you guys are older. I didn't really like the friends of my age group. They were cool, but like it just felt silly sometimes. You know, it just felt like you guys are doing this. I want to go do what they're doing, you know?
Right.
It just felt silly. And then my dad was to a more extreme. Like he like hung out with older people. He'd go play games with them, you know, which kind of makes sense how he is the way he is now. Cause but it's crazy how he is. Like he didn't have a dad. His mom wasn't really like as like, it's kind of like my mom. Like she wasn't as like assertive in the way she would parent.
I'm gonna pause you.
Go for it.
So do you think that in the way that you decided to your little brother, you were going to be more of a, let me share my experiences rather than what I think is right. Mm-hmm. And your dad was more of a, let me tell you what's right rather than share my experiences with you.
Yes, because at first when I was trying to show Axel things, it was like, let me show you. But I remembered that I didn't really appreciate that. So I was like, okay, you know what? No, let's do this different. This is my brother. I don't have to be like, right. Instead, we could go through this together.
Right.
You know, because at first I didn't like trust him. Like I didn't trust my brother
to make his own decision.
Yeah, at first, but then he like showed me. He showed his like perseverance and his like his like strength when it comes to adversity, and he handles pressure really well. Like he's not a very active person. He's not very proactive in the sense that like he goes out into life and goes at things, but he's very like when it comes to something he has to do, he'll do it. You know, if he needs to get something done, he'll do it. He'll go after it. He doesn't care what. He'll just do it. He'll block everything out, put his headphones on, and let's get it.
I've noticed that.
You know, which is really cool. And so now I have more of a respect for him, especially now that he's older. I feel like I actually talk to him too, which is cool to have. You know, because sometimes like you have brothers or you have siblings or whatever, and you're cool and all, but you don't really talk. You know what I mean? You don't really have like as a friend. And so it's cool to actually have that person. I haven't talked to him as much as I used to. But I know that if I see him tomorrow or later today or whenever, we could just pick up right where we left off.
Wow.
You know?
That's badass.
Also, moving out helped a lot. Moving out, like, and kind of leaving the house and then like being away from him.
Yeah.
It feels like I miss him now. As opposed to seeing him every day, it's like, and we'd get into fights a lot. Because we'd always have mental mind games with each other and mind battles because we'd always try to be right, you know? And then being the older brother, I'm like, no, I gotta be right. But my brother's pretty smart. So
he is very fucking wise, dude.
I really do. I'm curious as to how he's gonna shape his life. Because I always ask him, what do you want? What kind of cars do you like? What do you want to do? He's like, I don't know. I want to be an accountant, whatever, I guess.
I feel like his mind is just next level. Like the questions that you ask him is not even a question that's crossing his head. Mm-hmm. Like he's already got like 3 different questions that you haven't asked him that he's been wanting asked. Mm-hmm. Because he's very, I don't know, man. He just looks like super on it. Like
I don't know.
He just always looks like ready to answer like the world's next big question. Mm-hmm. It's wild.
Mm-hmm. He even like categorizes us in like what kind of persons we are in the house. He's like, my dad's this because of this, and you're just like him because of that, and then I'm me. So there's like categories he said as I'm like my dad, like very chaotic and aggressive nature, and he's more of a neutral, like logical thing. My dad's also logical too, which I kind of lack sometimes. I kind of just fuck around and go for things. So I need to be more like mindful in the things I do. Okay. You know, because I'm very impulsive sometimes in the decisions I make. Right. And Axel like saw that. He's like, you're just like my dad. Like you do things, but then you kind of like taper off and you like go look at something else. And Axel takes him a while to do something, but he'll keep doing it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know, and then he categorizes. And Claudia's like somewhere else. You know,
in her own category. That's badass.
You know, which is cool. At first, I was taken aback by it because like, how are you gonna categorize us? Like, how are you gonna separate yourself? Because like, oh, you know, I'm different. He'll say that sometimes. Like, yeah, I'm a different breed. Yeah, relax. I'm like, bro, come on.
But then you paid attention to the categories that he created for you guys, and you were like,
and it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
It makes
which is cool. I don't know, but it's crazy to feel that way towards your brother. You know, like your brother like is now. Like in a way smarter than you.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Whoa. But I mean, I'm not saying I don't understand the things he's saying.
No. But
I'm not interested in the things he is. You know.
Interested in very different things, aspects of life.
Because he still has a lot of inexperience in things.
Bring this a little closer to your mouth. Just it's crazy though.
So, what about you? How was your brother when you were younger? Before all the nonsense, you know.
Right.
Before all the nonsense.
Right. So for me, my brother, there's a 10-year gap in between me and my brother. Mm-hmm. So when I was 6, he was 16. Mm-hmm. And I positioned myself in his shoes, being 16 and having to take care of your 6-year-old brother. Like, it doesn't make any sense, right? So when I was younger, because at 6 years old, you remember stuff, you know, like you and things already start to affect you in a way that like they make you sad or they make you cry or they make you like smile or whatever. Mm-hmm. So for me, if I was 6 and my brother was 16, he was already interested in like girls and going out and hanging out with his friends. And so it was a huge year gap. And the times that I got to spend with my brother, it was more like a father figure in a sense, but more not in a father figure as in he's teaching me stuff.
But this is an adult to you.
This is an adult to me, like, but an adult that is also willing to have fun with me. Because I remember we would wrestle a lot. I was into wrestling. Yeah, like I fucking love watching like Mexican wrestling.
Yeah.
And he would let me do these moves on him, and like that was like some of the most fun moments that I spent with my brother. But in terms of seeing him as an individual that has information for me that I can use, never. Like really never. And the only thing that I knew was that I wanted to hang out with him. But he was 16, 17, like going through life, like, you know, and I was 10 years apart. So it was hard to build that relationship with him then. But I do cherish the moments that we had when I was younger. Like, it was his birthday the other day. Happy birthday, bro. And I texted him and I was like, do you remember the time when we were riding the bike? Because I was so keen on literally being with him. Yeah. But he had his fucking life. And we were riding a bike and I was in the pegs in the back seat. And I don't know what happened, but the bike like went all the way forward. Or no. I lie. I'm an idiot, bro. Let me tell you. I was on the handlebars. I was sitting on the handlebars and he was riding the bike. And we were making a sharp turn, and this was in Mexico, so like there's no paved roads; it's all dirt roads with rocks and shit. And it was a little sketchy, and so I shifted, and I was in the handlebars, and I stuck my foot in the front tire. So the front tire's rolling, and I stuck my foot right in between it, and I stopped the bike immediately. So the bike flipped forward, and then my brother flipped over me, hugged me, and when we landed, he landed on his back and I landed on top of him. Wow. And that moment is like one of the most beautiful moments to me with my brother, because like, you know, like I cherish that moment. And I texted it to him and he was like, I saved your life. And I was like, I mean, technically not, but when I mean,
you never know. What if you hit your head?
Exactly. But when I was a child, like that's like those are some of the only memories that I have of like growing up with my brother. And then apart from that, it was just him being a teenager. Yeah. And me, you know, growing up by myself. It wasn't until we got older. And then actually, no, we weren't able to ever have that connection, because when I came to the States, I was 10. And then I got into 13 and he was already 23. So I think of myself as a 23-year-old. I want to go to the club. I want to drink with my friends. Like, I don't want to be hanging out with my 13-year-old brother, you know? Yeah. But at the same time, I could see where he might have been wanting to be like, hey, you know, like, you're my little brother. I want to make sure you're doing good. But at 13, you're a teenager. And so you have almost no interest in what your brother's telling you. So to go back and answer your question, there was really never really a connection.
So he tried to like be like that. Oh, I got you. What are you doing? But you were like, nah, I'm doing what I want.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah. And then earlier in life, when I wanted him to hang out with me,
he was going through that.
He was going through that.
Like, no, I'm doing what I want.
Right.
Battling with parents.
Exactly.
And teachers.
Yep. And so now that he's older, and now that I'm older, the years aren't really that big of a difference, and we're able to communicate a little bit better.
I see.
Yeah, but it's weird, and that's the reason why I asked you that question about what it's like to be an older brother, because I kind of like, I want to get in his head and understand like what must it be like to watch me grow, to watch me like achieve, to watch me like do stuff.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's different. It's similar, but it's a little different, because like I spent so many hours with my brother. You know, countless amount of times we'd fight, laugh, you know, fuck around, and do things together. So it was more so like, I didn't see him grow up. We were both growing up. You know, we were close in age. We were only 3 years apart. Yeah. And so yeah, he was younger, and yeah, he's like didn't know as much as me. Right. He still was there and like active and making decisions along with me. Right. And so we would do things together. So this was more so not as much watching him grow up. It was more so us growing up
together.
It was not only till we got to like the age of like 17, then I was like 20, where there was more separation because I was doing other things. I had no job. I was getting my car. I was running track and field. So that's when the inexperience kind of separated us a little bit. I was gaining a lot more experience because I was just more proactive in a sense, or my parents made me proactive. That's the one thing I do say, like, he didn't have Claudia and my dad to push him to be proactive. You know, like he's not as I guess into things. You know, my Claudia and my dad always pushed me to, like, go, like, run track and field or whatever you want. Go work with your dad at the car wash. I don't know, go volunteer. Come help me out here. Come do this. Come do that. So I was always, like, doing things. So that's where my experience just started piling up. I love it. Kind of freaked me out for a sec.
Why?
I was like, what? Because it's just crazy to see, like, as you grow older, people are now getting married. People are having kids. Yeah. And you're like, okay, chill. Yeah. I'm not ready yet. Well, me being 23, I'm just kind of trippy. Like, some people are still asking for permission from their parents. And then some people are out there making families and going to jail or whatever, you know? So it's kind of free. I'm in this freaky zone right now. I'm just like, what the hell's going on?
That's true.
You know? Yeah. I think you are still in that zone, too. Yeah. Like, people are, like, doing some of these crazy things, and some others are just like,
still getting in trouble for drinking and stuff. No, your 20s are weird, dude. But your 20s are crucial too. Yeah, that's what I've been noticing, at least. Did you want to finish your thought of your brother and you growing up 23, 19?
Oh, okay. So what was I saying? The last
20 and 19, just pretty much.
Oh yeah, that's when the inexperience was starting to show. Because my brother just stayed at home more, and especially in Mexico, he didn't do many things. My mom tried to, but couldn't get him to stick. And so that's where the inexperience started to show. And I think that's the only time we felt like a little separated. Because, like, we spent a long period of time away from each other, and I was doing a lot more things that he wasn't interested.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, he's smart, but no matter how smart you are, if you don't go out and learn new things or do new things, you kind of, like, lose it a little bit. Yeah. You know, especially like because, like, the mind is a muscle. If you don't keep using it, you know, to kind of, like, chill out, or I don't know. I'm not really, like, super knowledgeable and all that. I feel like you might be a little more than me, but, like, if you don't use it, you'll lose it, you know? Yeah. So that's kind of what was happening. But now he's, like, back. You know, he's, like, especially living with Claudia and my dad now, I'm sure they're making him do some... My dad's like, come on, get up. 4 a.m, let's go.
That's wild.
So it's really nice. Now they're having that moment, you know? Because I forget sometimes that it's not just my dad. He's Axel's dad.
But because you spent so much more time with him than Axel did, you tend to gravitate more towards him. Yeah. Do you think it was hard for him to gravitate towards his dad?
I believe so. Because, like, for the longest, it was hard for him to open up to anybody.
Because I feel like that type of information can be useful for somebody that maybe, like, didn't have a relationship with their dad for a long time and is trying to build one.
I think Axel would have a good, like, insight on that because he didn't have to spend as much time. Even my dad would have an even better side because he didn't have his dad at all.
I feel like his experience would be completely different.
To mine or to
both of you.
That's true. Yeah,
because he didn't ever have to gravitate towards his dad. He had to become.
Yeah, it's kind of weird sometimes because, like, I'll open up to Claudia and my dad easier. I'll just, like, say what's on my mind now because they kind of nurtured me into that. Like, if you want to cry, go ahead. If you want to talk to us, go ahead. That's beautiful. I got you. And I actually didn't have that. So when we talked, they're always like, you never say anything. You never talk to us. So they're like, but I'm sure now that I'm not there, they have talks. Because, like, when I was with them, it felt like it was me against them too.
And they would just kind of funnel you.
Yeah, and then when Axel got there, it was Axel and me against them too. And I was like, all right, what's up then? But now that I left, it's just Axel. But I'm sure you can handle it. But still, they could be a lot sometimes. Yeah. Because my dad has a very strong character, and so does Claudia. And they can both be very, like they make you feel some type of way. Yeah, yeah. You're like, oh shit, okay.
But they do have your best interest.
They do, which is what I try to keep in mind. But sometimes it's like, okay, I get it. You don't gotta be yelling at me. Right. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm glad I have them. But sometimes, like treat others with how you want to treat them. You know, because they're my parents, but also have to have respect for me.
Explain that to me a little.
Respect bit. In a sense where you don't have to treat me like a child the whole time, you know. Even if I am a child, like, you treat someone with respect, because, like, now, like, it's I noticed I wanted to get away. It wasn't like I wanted to go out the way. I wanted to get away first and foremost from the house. because it kind of felt overwhelming, just constant like on my throat, you know.
Oh, okay.
And so instead of like helping, at some points it felt just like
nagging.
No, I don't want to say nagging, but it just felt like I couldn't think straight. I was just constantly worried about what they were going to think about what I was doing.
Wow.
You know, same thing. Like say I'm cooking in the kitchen, your dad's sitting there by the dining table and just staring at you cook, just like observing. And so I feel that pressure, which is also why I wanted to move out, because it was like definitely intense at times. Because he would like tell me like, no, don't do that, or he would just like say things, and then it would get to me because I respect him a lot, you know, because he knows a lot. You value his opinion. I value his opinion, but then sometimes I just didn't want to hear it because we would clash a lot. We definitely very strong characters because I got that from him, so I never back down from him. And Axel would mind his business. He would just like be quiet and like,
right,
okay, whatever. I'll handle with this later.
How do you put this thing on mute?
What thing? Let's go. The moon.
The moon.
And then the face. Well, it's not necessarily mute, but it's do not disturb.
Theater mode.
Yeah, theater mode is the best.
Oh, I think the bell might have been easier.
Oh. I like theater mode too because it just doesn't turn on at all.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
Oh.
Yeah. I like to see the time.
But yeah.
Theater mode.
And that's how me and my brother's relationship went. I like our relationship.
That's cool.
I do wish I had a bigger sister or something.
A bigger sister?
Yeah. That would have been tight.
A bigger sister?
Yeah.
I have a bigger sister. I can tell you how that is.
How was it?
Very... see, this is what's cool. Like, I feel like...
Wait, how old is she, by the way?
She is 7 years younger than me. Okay. Or 7 years older than me.
Okay.
So my brother and my sister, I believe, are 3 years apart. Mm-hmm. My sister it was pretty cool. Like, I feel like she actually went through to me the way that you went through Axel. Mm-hmm. Instead of just telling you what's right and what's wrong, she shared her experiences, and then she also spoke to me the way she wishes she would have been spoken to. Because so my mom and my dad at that time when my sister was growing up, they were very old school. They weren't as open-minded. They hadn't came to the States yet. And so they were very old school in the way that they were bringing up my sister. But she was already going through secundaria, which is middle school. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so she had all these ideas, and she was able to hear like the way that her friends were being brought up and stuff. And so instead of talking to me the way that she was spoken to, she would speak to me and like teach me things in the way that she knew worked best. Mm-hmm. And it's wild because I remember like just learning stuff from my sister and it being very easy to understand. Because I was a pretty aware kid. Like I was pretty aware, and my mom just didn't really have answers. Mm-hmm. Like I'd ask questions to my mom, but I mean, she just didn't have answers. Mm-hmm. Like, and so my sister had the middle school experience, and then high school, and then some college. And so she was able to answer questions to me in a more complete manner. Mm-hmm. Like it was just
in a more experienced manner, no?
Yeah, in a more experienced manner. Like she actually would answer my questions rather than just like tell me not to ask the questions. And I feel a lot of it had to do with the way that she was brought up. And so like, I don't know. And the thing about sisters is that they think different too. Mm-hmm. They almost think like your mom. So they have like a care towards
like a
you.
Nurturing.
Right. Like behavior, yeah, exactly. But at the same time, she's growing up and having to fight my parents in certain aspects of the things that she wants to do and them saying no. So she was just very understanding of what a child needs to be brought up. It was really cool, dude. Like it was really cool. I never really thought about that until
the reason I say I would have liked to had a big sister, because I had a cousin in Mexico that she was older than me, and she was kind of a nurturing way, like how you say, and so I really liked that feeling, you know, having like, because I went to school with her, middle school over there in Mexico for like, she was I guess a senior in middle school. I don't know how to. She was the oldest class.
Yeah.
And so the way the school works, there were like levels. So the older kids would be at the top level, and then third year, second year, and first year is at the bottom. It was kind of a cool hierarchy. Oh. So she would be at the top, but she was like in her little gang over there. She had a little posse she would hang around with. And me, you remember how I told you I was bullied?
Right.
So she would come and defend me, and she'd be like, "What's up, then?" And I was just like, "Whoa, it's so cool to see like my older cousin, just come and like have my back." So that's why I say it'd be cool to have like an older sister, because they have like a certain protective like instinct.
Yeah.
You know, and they're intense too. Like I feel like sisters are like very intense when it comes to like protection.
Yeah, you know I don't know. I never really felt that protection, if I'm completely honest with you.
I see what you're saying.
But at the same time, I don't feel like I needed it. There was only so much that could harm me.
Yeah. And then insight. I wanted insight into the world from a girl's point of view. So it would have been super cool to talk to a sister.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be very cool.
Yeah.
But I mean
maybe if the age gap was only like a few years difference, it might be a completely different.
Or even if she was 20 and I was 10, I wouldn't have mind that. Like asking her questions.
Yeah,
you know?
Because that was the age gap that I had. It was 7 years gap. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't
like 17 and 10.
17 and 10.
Wow.
Yeah. No, 17 and 10. Yeah. Yeah, maybe 8.
Maybe 8.
Yeah, because she was already 18 and she moved out to a bigger city.
I like your sister.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, and I can see that you guys have a closer relationship than, you know.
Yeah.
Especially than even with your parents.
She's just open.
Mm-hmm.
She's very smart. Mm-hmm. Like I said, she had her high school and then some college, so she just has a different dynamic. She has a different brain. Mm-hmm. Like I think I've spoken about this before, but my parents had 6th grade education.
Really?
6th grade was the furthest they went. So they have a lot of life experience. But in terms of like collegiate experience or just like
academics.
Yeah, like academics, or maybe like just even fact-driven information. All of that had to be on my own.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. But so it was nice to have my sister like actually feed me stuff, like feed my brain.
You know, now that you say that, I feel very appreciative of my parents, because like my mom, she definitely like had her education and she got herself through it, and she also liked to read a lot. And then my dad too, like he put himself through high school because he didn't get through it, so he put himself through night school, I think.
Wow.
And he got his GED or something like that.
Wow.
And so he got himself through. And then I believe my mom had some college too. Like my actual mom.
Oh, wow.
She had some college too. And then my dad just kind of like learned. He like preferred learning on his own.
Yeah.
Because he's also like skeptical of things. So he like learns on his own, reads on his own. He has like his little library in the garage. And so like I'd always ask him questions. I don't know why, but like whenever I'm with my dad, I tend to ask a lot of questions.
Because he taught you.
He did. And so like I always ask questions and they always answer.
Wow.
You know? Even if they're like, this is what I know, you know? And same thing with Claudia. Claudia knows a lot. And so I always ask Claudia questions. Like same thing with like comes to taxes or like just paying my bills or budgets, stuff like that. I always ask Claudia, so she set me up nicely. You know.
Wow.
Same thing with even like her sister. You know, I ask my tia sometimes like questions because she's like works for a dentist. So I ask her questions about that. So I always ask questions like with like my family. I don't know. It's like this thing I have because like
to ask questions
because I want to know what they know. You know. Especially because they're older than me, and it feels like I want to look into their world a little bit, you know? And so I don't know, because they do notice I ask a lot of questions, but I don't know if they see it in a way where, like, I want to get an insight to what they know. Because sometimes you ask them, and they give you their story. Sometimes they don't give you the story. Does that make any sense?
That makes perfect sense.
They give you their story, rather than their point of view.
Yeah.
When I ask questions, it's more so I'm trying to get at, like, what they saw, rather than like how they want to show me. You know,
I get what you're saying.
So that's why I ask a lot of questions with them. But
I think a lot of it had to do with just like moving into being fact driven. It's just like you don't always have to be right, and it's okay to ask an older person with more experience to just tell you their version of it. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
That's cool. I don't know, man. I mean, this life is weird.
I like it though. I like that it's so weird.
I want to talk to you about your fucking style of living.
My style of living? Go for it. Ask away.
I'm gonna give an introduction to where I think your style of living is.
Yeah, go for it. I'm open to that.
Okay. Fact driven for sure. Go with the flow, but get your shit done. Stay on top of things. Fucking discipline. Like you. Oh, I don't know. Why don't I just let you explain to me how more or less how you move through life?
More or less how I've been moving through life. I feel like I'm finally becoming who I always wanted to be in a way. Because, like, you know, you get those feelings where you feel inadequate sometimes. You're like, damn, was I really lazy that much? Was I, like, you know? So I don't like having those feelings as much anymore. Even though I came to a point where, like, being lazy isn't as bad as you think it is, you know? Like, you can choose to be a bum and go live your life and fish and just eat and chill out, you know? You can go choose to do that. But will you be happy with that? You know, is a real question. Will you be content with what you're doing? So it's more so that which I'm looking for. So I'm not so much, like, being super intense on being super productive anymore. I'm more so, like, pushing towards something that, like, I'm content with doing. What I'm choose to suffer with. So, like, the gym, I'm more than happy to suffer for that because it just brings me so much joy. So it comes effortlessly. So to me, it doesn't feel like when people say I have a lot of drive towards the gym, I feel like I'm cheating because it just feels like I'm having fun and it's something I enjoy doing. It feels effortless sometimes. Like, my body just takes me to the gym.
But does it?
It does.
Was it always like this?
Yes. With anything, with track, I enjoyed running.
Really?
Like, I don't know why. What was wrong with me? Not wrong with me, but like Claudia and my dad would be at home, and then I would just get up 7 o'clock, 8 p.m. Just get up and go for a run.
Wow.
I don't know why. I just enjoyed it, but I had this hunger for activity. I don't know, because I felt bored at times. So, like, this was the most I could get out of life right in this moment. Go for a run. And so after I went for that, I felt like I did something. I felt like I was moving forward in a way. So whenever I go to the gym, it feels effortless now. Of course, I do have days where I don't feel like going today, but those are more rare than anything. It's just like when I get up in the mornings. Sometimes I go in the evenings. Some go in the mornings. It's more so how I'm feeling that day, but I always go. And I don't know what it really is, like where this came from. But I enjoy it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I enjoy being there. I enjoy learning how to work out, learning how to, like, my body works, learning how it moves, how it handles things, how different pressures. So, like, when you say what drives you, because you do ask me often, because, like, you're seeking that same thing.
I do.
It's like hard for me to say sometimes, because, like, for me, it feels like I'm cheating, telling you, like, I'm so driven. Does that make any sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Because, like, I get up and it just feels easy to go. I don't know why. Because you know how, like, some people say that adrenaline junkie or a gym rat. I feel like a gym rat because I enjoy going. You know, I enjoy seeing other people there. And that place just feels so, like, motivating to me. It just, like, uplifts me. I see Orlando there. I see Natalie. And then it's just like, well, what's up, y'all? Let's get it, you know? Wow. And especially with my girl now, she has that same thing. Sometimes she goes too much. She says, she's like, okay, I need a rest. You're right. I need a rest. And so, like, it's cool to, like, which is why I think I asked her too, because, like, I have somebody that is crazy like me. One day we went like 5 a.m. to go hit legs. And we were there fucking around and we were like,
and nobody's there.
Nobody's there.
Wow.
And we were just messing around. And this is just kind of like, sometimes I feel like I'm in that flow state at the gym.
Okay.
You know, it's easy for me to get in that state.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm by myself. When I'm with somebody else, it's a little harder because we're like messing around, talking. But when I'm by myself and I go to the gym, I feel like I'm in, like, you know, it just kind of flows and I do it naturally. It's not like I'm pushing. It's like, I'm pushing not to leave. Wow. You know, because I miss it sometimes. And it's like my place of, like, zen and where I relax. Because at first it was definitely for impressing girls and wanting to look good. Of course it still has that factor, but now it's more like a place where, like, I heal myself. You know? So that's kind of where I see it. So that's kind of like as for the gym part. And then as for my eating habits, they've been a little sloppy lately, but they're getting better. definitely like I'm proud of where I am now as to where I was once, because I used to eat a lot of sweet bread. Right now I had a little sweet bread because I was just craving it.
Yeah.
But I used to have like, I don't know, 5, maybe 6 pieces of sweet bread with 2 glasses of milk.
Yeah.
But no, it's more so the portions I've been working on. So that's really where I'm trying to get at, like the portions and being able to be more mindful of what kind of foods I'm putting in my mouth. Right. You know, because a lot of things have like a lot of sugars, like high complex. I can't get into it right now, but you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I understand you.
You know, and then that's also where I'm kind of striving for. I want to be more mindful of what I'm eating. Like I want to know what I'm eating, you know, because we put a lot of stuff in our mouths without even thinking about it. You know what I mean? Like the other day, oh my God, I never realized how many calories are in chips.
Oh my God.
So 160
per serving.
And there's 4 servings in a bag of chips.
In a tiny bag, not even the big bag.
Yeah, sometimes I'll get the big bag.
Sometimes I'll get the big bag and go through the big bag, bro.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That was my snack in college. Mm-hmm. Like I would walk around, go grab myself a little coffee, like the Starbucks coffees, the mochas, and grab myself a little bag of turbos. Just walking around, just munching. And then, all right, let's go to track practice. And my God, my body felt it. I was like, and then I just throw up nonstop.
Wow.
I know, but my body still pushed through, which is I was like kind of like freaked out after. I was like, I really pushed through. Why didn't I just quit? But it was fun. I don't know, what else are you interested in?
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you questions about those 2 things.
Okay,
your food intake and your gym intake. Mm-hmm. You have to understand that this is not as easy for everybody else, right?
Yes, I completely understand that it's not, because before you say anything else, I had a period of what's it called, when I broke my ankle. Mm-hmm. And I was completely like, I had a lot of hypertrophy, and my legs were just shot. They had no muscle in them anymore, or not, they didn't have muscle, but they were just like, I didn't do anything with them. So when I got back, it was very hard at first.
It was like rebuilding your muscles.
I felt like, ugh, this sucks. You know, this sucks. The world. I just want to go back into bed and sleep.
Yeah.
Or take a shower and just chill out. And no, I don't want to deal with this. But like I knew, I was like, no, I want to get back to how good it felt. So I pushed through. Now I'm back to where I am. Right. But at first it was like definitely like, ugh, like this feels gross.
Okay,
like,
perfect. So you understand how hard it is to get back in.
It's very hard, especially when I was working at McDonald's and I was gaining weight. I gained like 20 pounds.
Whoa,
that was disgusting.
And chicken,
but it didn't show because I naturally like I have good genetics, and so it kind of spread out evenly. So I didn't notice it at first.
Right.
But then one day I was taking a shower and I was looking at my belly. I was like, okay, no, this gotta stop, because I was getting chunks, and I didn't like it.
But did you not like it because of the way that you look? Because this is a different period of your life.
I didn't like it because the way I looked, the way I felt, and the way I was thinking, it was affecting my mental state too.
Well, continue.
You know, it was affecting the way I was thinking a lot. Because like, you know, I'm very just chill guy. Like I'm like pretty much happy most of the time. Of course, I get happy or angry, sad, whatever. But I noticed when I was like not eating good and I was putting all the shit in my body, my mental state wasn't as clear, or it wasn't as easy for me to get things done. I felt just lazy, and that's when I was dating Pam, remember? Okay. And so I remember like when I was dating her, like I just had more like bad feelings. I had like ill feelings towards her and about things, and I just felt like ungrateful for things. Not saying it was the food in the cause.
Yeah, I think it was.
But like I'm gonna disagree. I don't think it was completely the food. It was also myself in that period of time. But the food definitely added to it.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because people like are fans. They're still happy.
I disagree.
You think so?
I think so.
You think so?
I'm
not saying they're happy with who they are, but I'm saying they can still be happy.
And I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
I agree with that. Because
like it's one thing that adds to it.
Yes.
But they still deal with it and they move past it.
Perfect.
You know?
I'm perfect with that.
Okay. But it definitely did. I did see it affect me. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Like the food was definitely affecting me. So that's when I decided, like, okay, I gotta like watch what I eat, and it feels good to feel good. I know it sounds a little weird, but
no, it doesn't.
It feels good to feel good. So when I was like eating better, and like especially like Claudia was trying to be more mindful, I was eating a little better. I felt better, and I don't know. It just there's this natural like drive in me that wants to look good and feel good. I don't know precisely where it came from, but I know it came from like fear, because in my family, we have a history of diabetes.
Oh, yikes.
You know, and especially in Mexico, like the eating habits are just very poor. and just seeing everybody just like, I went back to see my mom Christmas about 2 years ago, and just everybody just unhealthy, you know, unhealthy. My mom still like gets through it. Like my mom's like a champ. She'll still eat good somehow, and she's still slim.
Right.
Of course, she has a little like love handles or whatever.
She's getting older.
Her metabolism's not as fast, but it's just I don't want to like be like that. Which my dad kind of induced that into me too. Like he like went vegan for a while because he's like, no, I don't want to like feel like this, you know. Because my dad's also like very sweet tooth kind of guy, so he always like that's where I got my sweetbread addiction. Yeah. Like it's been a minute, and that sweetbread today hit different.
Okay, go back. Hold on. Come back. I'm
sorry.
Come back to the way that your food was making you feel.
Okay, so the food was making me feel just like lethargic, like just not wanting to do things, and I felt more nervous and like self-conscious because like I didn't feel good. Like, you know how you say if you look good you feel good.
Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't like my self-image of myself, you know. I didn't like how I was portraying myself to the world because like I would put my shirt on and I would see my belly start to stick out a little bit, and
then that would affect the way that you go on about.
Yeah, that would affect the way I was feeling. And at this time is when I'm like developing myself too, because like I still had crooked teeth at the time. I didn't know how to do my hair. My face was breaking out, and it's now the belly on top of that. So it's kind of like all adding up. I was like, nah, F this. Like
17, 18?
Yeah. I think I started working there 17, 18-ish. And then I gained 20 pounds. Fuck. My goodness. Fuck. Like, no, that was not good.
At the most peak time of your life, you gained 20 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
No. And that's a lot of weight for a 17-year-old to gain.
Yeah.
20 pounds. And it was in a short period of time, too. Because, like, on my 10-minute breaks, I would have, like, 2 cheeseburgers and a 10-piece chicken nugget. And I would just scarf it down. And then I would still have food on my 30-minute break. Because it was like just so easy to eat.
Yeah.
You know, this food is not like it takes forever to eat. Just you eat it, but now it's sitting in my stomach, you know. So and then all the worst was like having to drink the iced coffee in the front. It's constantly because I would be in the McCafe like section in the drive-thru, and I'd constantly be making myself coffees, and I'd just be like full of caffeine and sugar the whole shift. And it just after my shift, I was just like because I would ride my bike to work because I didn't live that far from McDonald's. Be like a couple blocks, so I'd ride back to her easy. But then on the way home, I'm just like, que pinche hueva, and I didn't like that feeling, especially because I'm a very active person. Because at the time I was still running track,
right,
and so I saw it affecting me a little bit. Thankfully, I was running track, or else I feel like it could have gone way, you know. So thankfully, I was running track, and I was still being very active, and I think that's around the time we were still playing football at the parks.
A little bit,
not as much as we used to, but it was still. I was still going like with the guys. We were
still being active, yeah. Mm-hmm. We were younger.
So thankfully, metabolism was just like perfect running, and I was young and I was being active. But if that would have happened to me now, it like definitely probably affect me like the most right now, because now like I notice my body's changing. You know, it's not as like the young. I'm not saying I'm getting old, but you can notice changes. What you're saying. You know, slightly. I can notice it slightly. Like I'll eat a burger and like, well, it's kind of hard to burn off. It's getting a little harder to burn off.
Okay, let's stay on that for a second. So I'm right now. I'm understanding with the food that you bring into your body is literally fuel. Mm-hmm. Like whether you like it or not, like whether you understand how it works or not, it's legit, and that's something that you taught me. I remember this strawberry moment that we had.
Oh yeah,
dude, that was such a gorgeous moment. Like ever since that moment, you taught me how to enjoy a strawberry, and it's like it's not something that I ever really encountered, right? So you ate that strawberry, bro, and you made it look so fucking good.
Dude.
And ever since then, like I began to think about like what am I actually putting in my body, and I just kept it real with myself. Like, okay, do I feel this way because of what I'm eating, or do I feel this way because of what I'm doing? And then I realized like they go hand in hand. What you eat really is fuel for your body. And if you're fueling yourself with sugar and like simple carbohydrates, that's what you're going to be running on. Like you're going to be running for a short amount of time. This is a whole rabbit hole that people can look up on their own. But just from me to you, like I want to explain to you that I understood what impact food had on my body. And now I'm understanding what impact going to the gym and staying active and getting your muscles moving that I understand what positive impact that has on your life.
And your mental state. I saw something where like, the health of your brain, like in cross country athletes, was much better because they just like running all the time, and then they're having like this aerobic activity or cardiovascular activity, and it was just like crazy to see like these like cross country runners, like somehow they're smarter than everybody.
Yeah.
But that's because they run so much, and it affects the way they like go through life.
Everything.
You know. Everything. And I really want to like see where it can get me, you know, like the changes I do in my life and my lifestyle and my the way I eat. I want to see where it can get me, you know, because it's like if you look around you, like everybody's like not doing too hot, you know. The majority of people are not doing too hot.
Right.
Like there's people that are eating healthy and all that, and there's like, you know, we're bombarded with people like, oh, like healthy fit channels and all that, but if you look around you, like people are not eating too well.
Yeah, the majority. I think it's something like 60% of Americans.
60-70%. My God.
That's
obese?
Yes. Obese.
I don't know. That's a real issue. And in Mexico, it's worse.
I don't know the statistics in Mexico.
But no, I don't know either. But from what I like when I was there, it's pretty bad. Especially because it's so hard to find healthy food. Like just because you walk around this taco stand, gorditas, you know, tlacoyos, whatever you go, like with your Coke in your hand, and you're just standing around. And it just like, I did not want that. You know, I don't want that. I want to look good, you know? Like, in my family, like, I don't think I've seen, like, too many people that, like, kind of went that route.
Right.
It was more so, like, the drugs, the alcohol, like, you know, just addictions, and then junk food. And it's, I don't know, like, it's nice. It's nice. Like, it's I can see why. Yeah, like, it's fucking delicious. I love drinking alcohol.
It's easy.
I love eating junk food.
Oh, my God.
You know, but it just, you know, it's hard. But it's worth it. It's worth it.
I think, like I'm saying, understanding what it does, like understanding that this fucking machine that you have, this is something that you told me that this is your machine, like this is your machine, and you keep it oiled and you keep it maintained and you keep it running on all cylinders depending on what it is that you're putting in and what you're putting out, as in what you're eating and what you're outputting in terms of like going to the gym or staying active. But from my personal experience, what I've noticed is that I don't think that you can stick to those two things until you understand what this machine is doing for you. Until you understand this machine like literally keeps you alive. Like this machine is the one machine that you
think so?
This machine keeps you alive?
No, I'm saying the way you were saying it, like I don't think you can like change your eating habits, change your lifestyle habits until you understand yourself.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So I put myself through diets over and over again. I put myself through workout periods over and over again. Like I stick to it for 3 months and I fall off, like most of us. There's like, what I'm understanding is that every time that I've had those bouts of indulgence in working out or eating healthy, they only last so long because I don't understand what it's doing to me internally. I never paid attention to, oh shit, my muscles now are getting fed better. Like if you have less fat in your body, you have a higher blood pressure, because like literally fat like literally fucking tightens up your arteries, and blood rushes through your body and then it goes everywhere. I mean, like we're full of blood. I don't know if this is correct or not, but I believe that the reason why cross-country athletes are probably a higher IQ, or I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
It's probably because they have a better blood flow. Like their brain isn't clogged up with fat. Like, and that's what I've slowly understood that like everything that you put in, and like you're depending on where your body's at right now. Like I could be honest with myself. Like my body isn't 100. I feel good. You know, I feel okay. I'm going through life okay. But I understand that like it could be better. And I understand now that if I would have understood that before, I might have been more willing to stick to doing this thing. Okay. Even if it sucks, like even if I hate it, even if I don't want to do it anymore. If I understood what was happening to me internally and how I was changing my body and how I was improving myself and how long term this was going to allow me to think more clearly and make better decisions and move more freely and be more pain free, I might have stuck to it, but I never took the time to understand any of that. All I wanted was, let me look good for this wedding. Let me look good for this quince. Let me look good for to impress a girl. Let me like whatever it was, right? But it was only short period.
Yeah.
I never took the time to understand how my body was going to react or how my body was going to be, my mind, like you were saying earlier, how my mind was going to react long term. So that's the only reason why I say that. I feel like if you understand what your body's doing internally, you might be more willing to stick to something.
Okay, I see. The reason I asked you is because I see it a little differently. I want to disagree with you.
Okay.
The reason being because, like, for example, say I'm a cigarette addict.
Okay.
I know what this does to me, but yet I still do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So then in the same way, like, I struggle with that same thing too. I know what this is going to do to my body, but yet I still do it. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's not necessarily like understand what my body is. My relationship to the food, you know, my relationship, enjoying the food. So the way I've been trying to go about it is like enjoying food, yet still being healthy. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of sucks just being like super like on a diet. It sucks. Nobody really likes going on diets because it doesn't feel good. You're eating this food and it's just because like when we were like younger, we would just eat what made us feel good.
Right.
And it was hard because like I noticed like parents sometimes like since I work in a restaurant, I see them give their kids like, oh, can I get half lemonade, half water? Because they didn't want to make their kids dependent on sugar, used to that. So it comes from a like younger age. Because when we were younger, we loved chips, sodas. I remember having like all that stuff on my face. And so the relationship we have with the food, I feel like it's the hardest part. Because like it's not necessarily you need to know what's going on. It's more so like kind of like almost like an addiction almost.
I agree.
Because I feel the same way too. I try to eat better.
Yes.
But I always find myself finding those little loopholes like, oh, I can have that donut. I can have those chips. Okay. And it just makes me feel good. There's a certain emotion you get when you eat junk food, you know? True. It's just hard to like get away from that because you're eating good and you don't get that same wow factor.
Right.
You know,
not immediately.
Yeah, not immediately. I'm sure your body feels it after, but it's just like immediate. Like we want it now. Like the chips are always the way to go.
Okay, I agree.
So I don't think necessarily it's like you need to know like what this does to your body. It's more so the relationship you have with the not necessarily junk food, but the food
just
that's
any
not
food
good,
that you're eating. Yeah,
because it could be anything.
Right.
You know, it doesn't have to be junk food. It could be something that's just like you're eating in crazy amounts. Yeah. You know, whatever in excess. Yeah. So that's why I disagree. It's more so.
I agree with you.
You know, the relationship you have with like the food. You know, because we have relationships with food. It's part of our life. We do it every single day.
Every single day.
And so it just also making it easier too.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes, like same thing with the gym. I want to make food and like to make it as easy as the gym, because that's where I struggle the most.
When you come out of the gym.
Yeah, when I come out of the gym, make it easy for myself. Because like we take the path of least resistance when we're down, and we take the path that's least resistant. You know, so making it easy, like designing your environment to help you out. You know, not bringing home all those chips, not bringing home all the soda. You know. Right. So just bringing home stuff, like say like you have a late night craving. I keep little junk food here and there, but just when I really can't handle it, because I love my Rice Krispies, I love my chips too.
Right.
But just like having an alternative, you know.
I agree with you.
Because like same thing with like addictions, you have to find something else to do rather than just drop it. You can't just drop that and expect you to just like be disciplined enough. No, we're human, you know. We make mistakes. So I really am trying to find an alternative, you know, to the things that I enjoy the most, which just kind of sucks. I enjoy these things the most, you know, and it's kind of sad in a way because like, why are these things that are so bad for us have to like, or that taste so good have to be so bad for us?
Yeah,
you know.
So I'll meet you. I guess I'll meet you somewhere in the middle. My ability to understand what goes on inside of me has allowed me to build a better relationship with the food that I'm putting in.
Okay, I will agree with you on that because I have noticed you like. From the beginning, you weren't really like knowledgeable on any of this. No. From the beginning, you had no information. No. You just kind of went off like posts here and there. But as you progressed, you learned more. You became more. You saw the benefits. You saw how the benefits outweighed the cons. You know how you felt.
Felt the benefits.
And so I can agree in your like situation. It definitely has helped you like tons, you know. And I see it too. Like you're excited about learning too. So that's just like a little hobby for you too at the same time. So I can see. I
never thought about it like
you know, because I can see how it can like that glimmer in your eyes sometimes when you talk about it. Like like you're having a hard time, but you're still like pushing past it. You know, you're like excited to get on this journey because you know there's like something at not necessarily at the end, because life is like a dance, you know. Right. So there's like something as you move along.
Go back to that.
Life is like a dance.
Whoa,
you know,
that's cool.
So now don't look forward for the end. Enjoy the dance, which is like why I want to be grateful. But you know, I see the way you like learn it, and then you enjoy telling me, and I enjoy listening because it just shows that you care. You know,
I like to tell you because it solidifies it.
Yeah, it does. Like last night when I was having a conversation with my girl, speaking those things, our feelings, solidified. You know, it kind of brought it out to existence and made it real instead of just being in our heads. Like, are you sure? Are you sure? You know. So same thing with, you can feel it, right?
Yeah.
I can feel it too.
Yeah.
I can feel it too. Sometimes like you feel it, like when something really matters, it's like it matters. It really does matter, and you can feel it. You know, and it's cool to feel that sense of like, wow, like this affects me, and I have the ability to change how it affects me. You know, I have the ability to make decisions to like improve my life. Mm-hmm. You know, and it feels good.
It does feel damn.
It feels really good.
It feels damn good. But it does take a while to get into that moment where you're just like, where you realize like you can enjoy life. Like it's not about where you're going or what you're doing or what you did. Like just enjoy all of it. Yeah. Like, I think I found it beautiful when you said that how'd it go? Life is a dance.
Life is a dance. I forget the whole quote, but life is a dance.
Because all I picture is just like I enjoy banda music, and I enjoy dancing. Like I don't want the song to come to an end. Like I really don't. Like it's fun. The whole dancing process is fun.
I got this. I saw a lady talk about it. She was talking about it in the way like life is a dance in the way how trees dance. You know, that's what life is. When you see the trees kind of moving through the wind, that's what life is. That's really all it is. And you just gotta like be there. Wow. You know? And so life, you just kind of like, she said, because like the way she was saying, like, I like to dance with trees. Not necessarily like she's dancing, but like she's out there with the trees and enjoying the wind. And that's what life is. You know, we like to overcomplicate it a lot. But at the end of the day, we're just monkeys on this floating rock. Just trying to like...
just kind of enjoy, make sense of it all.
Make sense of it all. A lot of times it doesn't.
And it doesn't have to.
And we try really hard to make it make sense. But sometimes we can't. And we just got to accept that.
Okay, man. I think we're going to call it right there. That was beautiful.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much for...
my name is... I'm just kidding.
Thanks for doing this.
No, thank you, brother.
This is
It
great.
was nice. It was cool.
It was great.
I missed it, too. It's been a while since we spoke.
It has.
Do you want to leave anything for your viewers? Like, do you want to, like... I'm just kidding.